Hi everyone, my name is Raven. Welcome back to my channel, and today I will be talking about all of my Stephen King books I have and which ones you should start with if you want to read any of these books. Okay, like I said, we're gonna go into Stephen King's books, which ones I have, which ones I think that you should start with. And I'm wearing a Stephen King shirt right now. It's Carrie White shirt, Prom Queen, 1976. We're in today, and I have all my books right here, the stack here. So I'm gonna get into my mass market paperbacks I got, because they're the smallest and they're the easiest to move around. Ooh, okay, we'll set them in the chair that's right next to me. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you which ones I've read and which ones I haven't read. I've read a bit of ones I have, but I'm slowly getting around to the other ones I want to get to. So, first one I have in my stack is Firestarter. I actually have 2 copies of these, which it's behind me somewhere in that stack, so you'll see it again. I got Firestarter. Have not read this yet. All I know is that it's a little girl that has powers, and she can set fire to things. That's all I know about. Sounds interesting, and I would like to read it. It's old. Love it. I don't know where I'm gonna put these whenever I get done talking to them, so we're just gonna set them over here. And I got The Night Shift, which is all of his short stories. I got tabbed for which short stories there is. I know Children of the Corn is in this one, and oh, the movie Maximum Overdrive that has Emilio Estevez and all that stuff in it with the moving trucks and stuff. That's actually a short story in here. It's actually called Trucks, so that's what that short story is in here for. So that I know that's in there. And another short story that's here that was made into a movie, I don't remember, but I know it's in here. There's that one. And I have Salem's Lot, which I've read. And Salem's Lot is basically about a guy who's moving into it's Ben Myers. He returns to his home in Jerusalem's Lot, that's what it's called, and it's actually, ooh, that's what's in there. This is the Jerusalem's Lot. It's like a prequel to like this, and it's in Night Shift. That's it. I think they start off with that. But anyways, with my little tangent, he moves back, finds out there's a vampire in town, and he's killing everybody and they're disappearing, and he figures out what to do. Basically, that's what that's about. And this edition is pretty, like, thick, just puts mass market. I also have another edition of this one that my friend gave me for Christmas last year, no, year before. So you'll see that coming up again. And we have The Shining by Stephen King, obviously. I would recommend with either this one. I mean, you can read Salem's Lot, but it's a slow burn book, so I don't know if you don't like slow burn books and don't read this one first. I would read The Shining, because it's a very like you can get into it more quickly, and you follow the characters faster. So, and this is basically about Jack Torrance and his family, who ends up going to live in a hotel because he got fired from his other job, and he has to look after the grounds, and things go sideways. But basically what this is about, this is a very well talked about book, so I'm not going to get too much into it because we know what it's about. And the 2 copies I have of this book, it's Carrie, obviously, because my mom gave me 1 copy for Christmas, and then my friends gave me another one also, so I got 2. So if you're wondering why I got 2 copies of Carrie, that's why. I read this one. I read this copy. No, did I? Yes. No. I did not. I did not read this copy. I read this copy. Till the spine's broken. I don't know why I tabbed the parts up with this one when I read that one. I don't know. But Carrie, you can also start with this one too, since it's short and it's not too much going into it, and you can really get into the characters easily. Excuse me. And This is basically about a girl who gets bullied at school really, really bad, and she's also abused at home, and she ends up going crazy in the end. We know what this one's about, 'cause this one's most talked about too, so, and also there's like so many movie adaptations, we all know what happens at the end, so, those are those. Those are all my mass market paperbacks. Now I think I should just get and stack this right behind me, I don't know. Anyways, we have The Institute, which is one of his newest books that came out like 2019. This is basically about, you totally heard my dogs, I'm sorry. I don't really know much about this, but it's basically about like kids who were on this freight cart going to places. I don't know. That's all I know. But I don't really know much about it. I haven't read it yet. I heard it's really good though, and I really wanted it. So I'm slowly collecting like all of his books anyway. So, and hopefully I'll get to it soon. There's this one, and you're about to see one of my copies on books I told you about. That will be Salem's Lot again. And this is the one that my friend Danielle gave me. She got this beautiful edition. I think she got it on Amazon. It's pretty, and obviously it's not as thick as the mass market paperback, because it's got, the text is a lot different. So that was very nice of her, so I had to keep it. So that is with that one. And my other one that I got, which I did read 2 short stories out of, it is If It Bleeds. And I read, the 2 short stories I read was Mr. Harrigan's Phone and Life of Chuck. And Mr. Harrigan's Phone, I like that one because it's about an old gentleman who isn't that connected to the world technology-wise, and this kid ends up helping him with that, and he ends up passing away. And it's kind of sad. I really liked it. And The Life of Chuck basically is about you follow his life backwards. Like, you follow him from old age to when he's young. And I thought that was a very interesting take on, like, telling someone's story backwards. I really like that one. But I haven't read the other 2. I'm gonna get in that very soon, so there's that one. I love this cover. Look, it's so pretty. And alright. Then I got Dr. Sleep. This is the book 2 in like, well, it's book 2 to The Shining. Basically, you follow Jack Torrance's son, Danny, of the events after what happened in the hotel, and throughout his life, kind of, and what he's been through, and him going through sobriety, and then basically going back to what happened, because he basically meets another girl who has the same powers as him, and he helps her out through that, because there ends up people who take those powers away from them, and you just follow him on their journey. And I did read that, so obviously I read it because I had to read it because I read The Shining, and I was like, if there's a book 2, I gotta have it. And I ended up buying like 2 other books of his, which I'll get. This is why I started on my journey. The Shining was I'm gonna say technically my first book I read from him, but I read it first technically. But like, since when I read it, I didn't realize, okay, it's a funny story. Okay, funny tangent story that we're getting in here. Okay, let me get the book It, since we're talking about it, right? Right. Stay. Okay, now, y'all know how big It is, right? Well, the movie came out, and I thought, ooh, I heard the Librarians at my high school talking about it, right? And I'm like, okay, ooh, the movie just came out, I want to read the book before I watch the movie, right? And they just got it in. I was the very first person to check it out. It was the black edition with Georgie and with holding up a little his red balloon, you know, and those clowns like facing him or whatever. But little did I did not know that this book was this big. They handed the sucker to me, right? I'm thinking, oh, and it was a complete surprise to me. I've never read anything bigger than like Harry Potter, like the Goblet of Fire or the Order of the Phoenix. Nothing bigger than that, right? It was just like 800, 900 pages. This stuff is like 1100 pages. I did not know that this was that big when they handed it to me, so I read it, and it was good. And then, well, you know, with these kind of books, you can't put them down and like pick them back up. If you put it down once, you're gonna like, I read it for a couple days or weeks, and then you have to renew it, and then like 3 months in, you're like, now I gotta really finish this, and then, you know, like 2 years later, you're like, I don't remember a damn thing I read because I kept picking it up and down. Plus, I was going through school stuff, my junior project and stuff, so was that a good time to read it? So I technically read this first, but since I didn't remember what went on in this book the first time I read it, I consider The Shining the very first book I read by Stephen King. So, would not totally 10 out of 10 would not recommend you start off with this unless you read really, really fast. And you can get through a book this big without audiobooking it. But this is a very complex book that you have to get into because it switches from timelines too. So if you're not really a person that can handle or that can like keep up with the switching timelines and stuff, do not recommend reading each book first because it's huge and switching timelines that go back and forth. Like they'll be like in the middle of a sentence and go back to 19 something another, and then you're like, what just happened? So I would not recommend reading it, but it's a good book if you want to like eventually get to this. It's good. I would recommend reading it, but not for the first one you read. Okay, enough of my tangents. Now let's get on to the rest of the books that I have, because this video is going to be long enough anyway, right? Say. And the other books I have is Nightmares and Dreamscapes. It's a bunch of short stories. Now I read it, Dolan's Cadillac. That's the only one I read. And this is basically about a guy who ends up like taking revenge on these gangsters who killed his wife in a hit and run. And he basically puts a hole in the ground, and the people like drive over it, and like they fall in, and he basically hears them screaming and like die, basically. That's it. It was pretty satisfying though. Pretty satisfying. That's all I gotta say. And the other ones I have is Needful Things. I attempted to start this book, but then it didn't hit me. I don't know. It wasn't the right time to start it. It wasn't hitting with me. I was like not really into it right yet, so I did attempt to start this, but I haven't yet. I will soon. I will make all his books and I'll read them. And the next one I got to talk about is Tragedy, right? For me. Someone says it's a good book. It's great. You should read it. And that would be Misery. Now, I tried to read this over when the pandemic started, right? And it was like May or April, whatever. And I tried to read it, and I got like a little bit more than halfway, and then I just stopped reading it. I think it could have been because Paul Sheldon, he himself is locked in his own room, and he can't get out. He's stuck, and I think it's probably because I was stuck inside, not being able to go out because of the stupid pandemic that was going on. I think maybe because of those two combinations, maybe it was just making me more bleh, not into it. And I actually started reading it again, but then I was like, nope, not really the time to read it again. So, I don't know with me, I don't know why with me, I just have not been clicking with this book yet. I'm hoping to eventually get to it, and maybe it'll click finally, because everyone says, it's a great book, it's great, and I'm like, yeah. But at 2 attempts I've tried to get into it, I can't get into it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm in a pandemic life, and I don't know. But, the next book I got to talk to you about is The Stand. Would not recommend reading this first either, because it's huge. And now I did read some of this. Oh, there's my bookmark that I was trying to look for the other day. Anyways, I audiobooked it. I got this far into it, and I just stopped. And I couldn't, because it had a 6-month wait on it. And it's really good, but then it still has like post-apocalyptic life too, and it's dealing with a virus as well. So maybe that's why it didn't click with me too. And I was looking for this bookmark. But it is Hufflepuff, since I'm Hufflepuff, apparently. But I got this far, and that is what we have. And all these bookmarks were just trying to make my 100-page mark for the day, and did not quite keep up with that just because I work, and it just, I don't know, was it clicking with me? I don't know what went wrong. Maybe because it's about a virus, and it's about a pandemic as well, and we're living in one. Maybe that's why. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's why. And I'll get into my others that are like over here. Alright. Alright, my other book is the other edition of Firestarter. I guess it's the modern edition of it. That's what I would assume. I just told you what it's about. This is just my other edition I got of it. I got it from my birthday. This is actually the first edition I got for my birthday, and I got the other one from somewhere. I forget where, but I just acquired that one because it was cool. And this one for my birthday. And then we have Christine. And then we have the Tommyknockers. I'm thinking this one's about aliens. From what I heard, I think it is about aliens. I don't know, but we'll find out. I think it's about aliens. That'd be cool. And then Christine is about the evil car. We all know that. I acquired these for my birthday, like last year. Those are those. I haven't read these, obviously, but I'm getting to them, I swear. I'm just reading my Cassandra Clare's now, because I got stuck on her, and I want to be caught up with her books, too. And I don't think anyone's going to be ever caught up on Stephen King's books, just because he just keeps writing. He just came out with another one called Later, and I haven't got that yet. But he came up with another one, and I'm like, why? I'm already behind as it is. Quit writing those books. Why you have to be such a writing genius? And I have The Outsider, and this one, I don't know how to put this. It's basically it's a crime. It's a crime mystery paranormal novel, and I loved it. I gave it like 5 stars. Like, I couldn't stop reading it. I think the first time I read it, I blew through like 100 pages through this first night I read it. This is basically about a man, Terry Maitland, who ends up being framed for a crime that he didn't do, but everyone says he did it, right? And they figure out like who is behind it, and basically you really think like it's him who did it, but like everyone says, like the witnesses who say it's him, like identify him, like he was actually at the crime scene and everything. But on the other side of it, there's people that are like, no, he wasn't there at the time, like he was here the whole entire time. And then you see, like, there's this footage that he was there at the place, the crime scene, whatever, but then he was at, it makes it look like he's in 2 places at once. And then that's where the paranormal side kind of comes in, and then you figure out more about that and how that ends up playing out. And I liked that. It was weird, like how they tied it in. Like they didn't overwhelm me with it in the beginning. Like you didn't know it was going to turn that way until about halfway, I would say. And then it just ends up just going all the directions, and you just have to follow it until the end. And I loved it. And I recommend this one too if you want to read it. Like it's not like his older stuff, but I would recommend this one too. And the next one I got is Green Mile, and I tabbed this with the parts that's in here because it's really, it was split up into like little is it called serial series or something like that, where like it's like 100-page, 60-page little small short stories sections. That's how this was originally released until they did a wind-up of it. And the artwork in here, I like it. I got this for my birthday again, like year before that or something like that. I don't remember when I got it, or for Christmas. I don't remember. And I got Cujo and Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary is the 3rd book I read by Stephen King, because I got The Shining at like my local bookstore that's downtown, and it's a small business owned, so I got a sticker that said small business owned. I supported. It was great. And I got The Shining just out of like, why not? And when I did that, I read it and I was like, okay, now I gotta have something else to read by him. And then that's when I saw that he had Dr. Sleep out. I ordered that alongside Pet Sematary, and then I got it as well. So I got all 3 of those books at the same time. So that's where my Stephen King book collecting started, was with The Shining and getting all those. And I just slowly just been getting them. I went to the bookstore one time, and like it was Barnes & Noble. I spent like $100-some that day, and that's where like the majority of like all the rest of my books came in, like the Stand and like the short stories. That's where those came in, was from that bookstore, which I have a video on that too. So those are those 3. I only have like a couple more left, so that's great. And I got The Body. This is basically Stand By Me. The movie Stand By Me, where like the kids, they end up trying to find the dead body, and they end up going a little adventure through the summer. And I tried to read this too, and I didn't get into it either. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know. I think when I was trying to get into this book, I was in a reading slump anyway. So, which is so silly, because it's so small. I could get through it. Come on. Like, it's so silly. Why can I not get in this book? But I did read a little bit of it, which wasn't that really memorable, because I was in a reading slump at the time. So you can read this book as your first book if you want to, since it's so small and short. You can read this one too. It's not that complex. And this one is 4 Past Midnight. I don't know nothing about this book. All I know is that it was another book that I acquired, and it was a Stephen King book. That's it. And it's obviously from an old library, which is so cool. And that's all I know from it. I don't know anything else. I don't know nothing. Never even heard of this book. I could read like the little synopsis, but not out loud, because you can't read out loud like that. Well, when I read it, I'll let you know if I like it or not. I'll sit you in the chair. And the last 3 books I got. My last 3 now is the Bill Hodges Trilogy. This is about a crime. It's his crime novels that this guy, he runs people over with like his Mercedes or something, and that's it. And you kind of follow the detective, and you follow from the killer's perspective too, I heard. So that's it. That's all I know about it, and I know I want to read it because I think it's interesting. If it's anything like The Outsider, which The Outsider and the Bill Hodges trilogy are actually like connected, which I didn't know. I mean, lies, I did know, and I read it anyway. So, because this is actually referenced in here, but I didn't mind being spoiled. I didn't mind it, so I got spoiled by some things. So that's okay. Oh, it's so cool. Those are all my Stephen King books. Oh, and when I read these, I'm definitely gonna make a reading vlog out of these, and I'm gonna read them all back to back. So once I start series, like I can't stop reading them, and I just read them back to back until I get tired of them. Like my Cassandra Clare's, I started her books and I ended up just continue reading them, and now I'm just still reading them. So that's what happened with that. Those are all my Stephen Kings that I have. If you want to start off with any of them, start like with The Shining. Start off with The Shining or Carrie or Salem Lot if you want to try and do that one, but it is a slow burn book, and you will, if you don't like slow burn, then I'll start for that one. Don't do that one down the line. You can read The Outsider if you like that. Oh, but that does have a lot of violent, and it does have a description of a violent rape that happens in this book, and like of the autopsies and stuff. So if you're a little weary about that, just be aware of it. And you can read Body as well if you want. It is short. You should have no problem reading it and getting into it. And Pet Cemetery, you can read Pet Cemetery. That one's a good one to go into too. And you can read Stephen King's like Dr. Sleep, but you're gonna get spoiled by The Shining. Don't mind that. Go for it. But that is all my recommendations from what I've read. So that's just about it. So if you enjoyed this hectic video of me talking about my Stephen Kings and me going back and forth, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you want to do, and I hope you guys are having a lovely morning, day, evening, night, wherever you guys are at in the world, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Bye!